Hey guys, KC Jilly. I thought I'd show you guys the secret garden, or at least give you a little update. There's nothing really happening out here. I'm still in the process of getting ready, you know what I mean? I've prepared my ground and stuff best I can for the time being, what I can afford to do, and I'll just show you what's still hanging on and what's happening. So currently at the secret garden, I've got a lot of okra here, but the truth is I'm just waiting on it to die off. It would keep making. I could pull all these off and let it keep making, but I'm just waiting on it to die so I can harvest all those seeds. As you can see, the okra's plenty healthy. All this old big stuff hanging on the ends of it here. That's what I've got left. Now, underneath here, I've got this black fabric, as you can tell, and I've laid it all the way across to the edge of the okra there and covered in wood chips. So I've got my water lines are all underneath here and I'm ready to plant. However, this is my group of brassicas that will go here. They're very leggy, excuse me. They're very leggy because I have them under, or have had them under a grow light. And this weekend, I turned the light off and opened the curtains to the window so that a little tiny bit of sunshine would come in, because they're so close underneath that light that it dries out the dirt. So I watered all the dirt in there and did the best I could for it there and turned the lights off and let it have the weekend while everything got leggy. So, but I'm gonna let it sit out here and get a little real life. I've got a few basil that I brought from my house. This is grown from my seed, and I've stuck it in here in the ground, mostly just for looks, and I like the smell, to be honest. And when this stuff starts seeding, I'll save these seeds and it'll draw in some bees and stuff out here. I almost passed it up, I'm sorry. So I've got this guy, this little tomato, and it's flowering. We'll see. This stuff gets hit with the sprinkler a little bit, and so some of my leaves are getting a little bit of cooties on them, as you can see. It's into the season, so I'm not sweating it. Whatever this thing can pump out for me, awesome. I'm not even gonna mess with tying them up any more than they are right now, so when they start falling over and growing on the wood chips, I'm okay with that. These peppers that you can see here, I've got several of them. I don't know what they are. It's kind of to be continued with that deal. But, you know, that one there, they're all flowering, and this one's putting something on, so I'll find out soon enough. But all these peppers were kind of placed all down right in through here, and when I cleaned up the garden, I just dug them up and I put them down here on the end, kind of out of the way, and hopefully it won't be long and I'll get some peppers off there and I'll tell you what I got once I get it. And this pepper's doing just fine as well. All right, now here's my red onions. And as you can see, they're doing pretty good, getting a little bit of a head on them there. I will dig these guys out, and what I'm thinking about doing with them is at the edge, the border of my wood chips here, I'm thinking about putting them all down the edge. Now, I'm saying for the red, but I mean, that's red. Here is yellow, same situation going on. And down there, I have more like I have at my house in the greenhouse and such. Those are the white, okay? But I'm gonna spread them out and border this garden with onions. And they're almost to a spot where I'm ready to go ahead and stick them in there and see what happens. And I'm hoping maybe that'll kind of deter anything that comes around. Maybe they'll smell the stinky old onion and won't want to mess with it. But either way, I'm going to plant some of those out, and I will leave some in the container, but there's just way too many to be successful. You know what I mean? I can make it maybe till spring, till they get a really decent bulb on them. And then I will take them over there to the other section of the secret garden. We'll go look at that in a minute. Now, that broccoli this is its second year out here, and I don't think it's going to make anything, but I just left it growing to see what happens. And this is perpetual spinach down here. the offering for the bugs. It's never healed back up, but it's trying. And I haven't seen as much bug pressure, which is really good, because I am getting pretty sick of fighting with them out here. That's the other reason I haven't planted anything. And I've been growing those brassicas indoors. Now, here is the strawberry. Came out here as a single, and I probably have 4 or 5 plants off of it now. And I'm just gonna let it do its thing. And maybe isn't looking the best, kind of suffering from chlorosis, but this is just an establishment thing right now. I'm just gonna let that stuff go. And I had a bunch of stuff in here, but you know what? I've got this leftover dirt, and as those brassicas get a little bigger, I will fill these cups like this up with that dirt that's in here, and I will put them in there as singles so they can get a little bit bigger before I actually put them out here. I want them to get a little size and things to cool down, because I just don't trust the dadgum bugs out here. They're really bad here. I don't have this kind of issue at my house. Now, this is sugar cane, and I've been trying to figure out what to do with it. There's not enough to really get anything out of it, but it is also an establishment thing. So you can see I've got a lot of roots down there showing. I really probably need to just plant this somewhere else before the season is totally over. I may just wait and let this die off, but from what I understand, right before the cold comes, I'm gonna cut those babies off right at the ground level and keep them cut down so the roots are there. And I may have to bury it a little deeper, but so the roots are there, but maybe it will re-emerge after the winter. That's what I'm going for. That's the best information I can find on how to get it through to the next year. Now I can cut the chunks of that stuff out, but it'll be pretty tough trying to keep anything alive inside under a light or anything like that. It doesn't work like that with this stuff. So this is an experiment that I will find out soon enough, and we'll have a little bit of sweet stuff to chew on, but not very much. All right, so let's go take a look over there at the other area, and I'll show you how much room I've got to put all these onions and brassicas and stuff over there as well. Okay guys, I'm over here at this other one. We're gonna take a look. It's kind of a blank canvas. So like I say, blank canvas. I have laid down the black stuff underneath the wood chips. You can tell where they overlap, and I didn't have much money. I really just needed one more strip of this black stuff, but I couldn't afford it right now. So I've got grass peeking through at every junction of that stuff, where I just have it just maybe a 1/2 inch or 1/4 inch overlapping one another, the black stuff underneath. So I still got a little bit of pressure from the grass, but it's not like it was. You can't beat that dadgum Bermuda grass when it comes to the wood chips. So, but I've got all this area. See, this is probably this little section you see right here. We're looking at probably 8 by 12, something like that. Okay, and I'm gonna walk over here and turn around. And then I have from the edge of that building that way, there's another 8 by 12. And I probably have 8 by 10 right here in this little section where the watermelons were growing earlier this year. Now this is a yellow pear, and I'm guessing it's fixing to kick off and get serious. Now I haven't been watering at all over here, 0 watering, and everything's greening up because we actually got a little bit of rain. I don't know if you guys saw my little short I put up, but we had a minor flood, not the devastating kind, but the good kind. And I came over here this morning and ate a bunch of these sun golds off. They're still growing on their own up the fence line. I'm just letting them do their thing, little snacks while we're over here messing around. And this guy, I believe right here, it's actually growing on the other side of the fence. I believe it is the yellow pear from a year or 2 ago, and it's just growing back. The season's finally got right, and the bugs have quit eating everything. I kept finding those dang green hornworms all over these a few months ago. I bet I killed probably 10 of them. And the grasshoppers have chewed everything down, and now it's cooling off finally a little bit, and we're getting a break. And so maybe before the first freeze, I'll get a little something. Now right here, I have a rotten watermelon, one of those sugar babies. And as you can see, the seeds, I've got a bunch of little watermelon plants growing. If they grow, good. If they don't, I don't care. There's not time for that. And I'm not sweating. I'm just letting them grow, do their natural thing, and die off. But all of this room here, I've got a lot of room for brassicas and for onions to come over here. And hopefully this grass, I'm not gonna beat it. All right, this is the best I can do on my budget at this time. But hopefully this grass won't overload me. I will go in the centers in between the strips of grass with my onions and my brassicas, and I'm hoping that's gonna work out. And I'll keep you guys updated once I get everything planted, but I'm still looking at probably a good month before I actually fill this bed up with anything. Okay guys, and one last thing, I really just wanted to show you guys this. This stuff you see behind me, this is all the stuff from the ag barn that I talk about, my fertilized dirt that I use. Right here, I've got a big pile of it that I've hauled out here over time. It helps those guys out at the ag barn. They've got to keep cleaning out their stalls and their pens, and all of this stuff builds up. And I noticed some years back cleaning up and trying to mow that area that dadgum, I mean, everything just grew wonderfully in it. And so I want to show you, if I can, I'm going to show you two things. I'm going to show you what the dirt is like around here with my hands. I'm going to dig some of it up, and then I want to show you this stuff. And I want to explain to you too that this stuff here, if you're going to use it to grow in, before you plant something in it, you have to soak it down really good and mix it up a lot, because it's almost like peat moss. It stays kind of dry. It's almost repels the water until you've got it to finally absorb it to begin with. Once you've got it wet, you can keep it wet easy, and it holds moisture really well. But until you soak it all the way down really good, it just won't penetrate through it. So let me show you what the natural dirt looks like first, and then I'll go over here and show you a handful of this other stuff. Okay guys, this is our natural dirt. It's wet out here right now, so I'll try to scrape some of it. Can you tell that it's got a lot of clay in it? I don't know if it's really all that noticeable or not, but I mean, you can see by my fingers the way they leave those streaks through that stuff. This stuff it's got some value. It's good. It holds some stuff, but if you plant something in it, there's no drainage there. Okay, it's going to hold water in a negative way. All right, so that is the same, basically the same as what I have at my house, and I've been growing in that for years. And I soak the stuff down, and I do my best to keep my plants getting big and doing well. But by this time, if I was planting in this and watering it all the time, you would see cracks forming. It just looks terrible, you know. This stuff cracks and dries out, and it just doesn't work for me, okay? I think that I could do better, and without spending money, this is the option I found, and I found that it works wonderful. So now we get to my ag barn dirt that I'm always talking about. Let me get over here and show you how it works. Okay, as you can see, we have little sheep pellets, and I think this is hog poop, to be honest with you, okay? But it's mixed throughout this. There's small wood chips in this stuff that have been used, animal bedding that's been used for this stuff sitting out here is at least 2 years old, probably older. But I want to show you. See, it rained like hell, and look, this stuff's still kind of dry. But when it gets wet, you see there's a much more crumbly, there is a little bit of pea gravel from where I had to scrape it up, but it is what it is. You know what I mean? I can rake through there and get the rocks and stuff out pretty easy. But you mix this stuff with what's naturally here already, and that's how you get that 20-foot banana tree that I got growing in my backyard. You know, I put this stuff down initially about 6 inches in those garden beds where things are really growing well, okay? I get about 6 inches of this stuff. There's oak leaves as well in here. I have to clean up around my library, and it has giant oak trees, and they shed their leaves. We got to clean the gutters and stuff and do something with those leaves, and I throw the leaves in here, okay? So you mix that stuff, though, about 6 inches on top of my native soil, and by the end of the year, it breaks down, and it's probably 2.5 inches tall after a year's worth of being settled on. Then I mix my grass clippings at the house when I mow my yard. I put them on top of it, okay? That stuff breaks down into it. Then I buy fresh, new wood chips like you see over here, and I lay that stuff on top of it, and there's my mulch for $6.99 for a bag that covers 8 cubic feet. There are, I believe, 5 bags of that stuff here, and it covers this much of an area, okay? As far as money-wise goes, that's the best bang for my buck I can get, all right? The point being, for the cheapest way I humanly possibly can do this, this is what works for me, and it's working really good. And I think it's just gonna get better with time. There's areas that I show you in my home garden around my peach trees by my greenhouse. Those garden areas there by the fig tree, they haven't even got this stuff yet, and they're doing pretty good. When I add this stuff to it and I keep throwing those grass clippings down, I mean, my soil is getting better every year. I don't have to put fertilizer in that stuff. All that poop that's already in there, it's doing it naturally. Okay guys, I want to give you a demonstration. I'm back at my house, not the secret garden, but this is my native soil I'm fixing to drill into. And I want you to look at its composition, okay? Okay. Can you see that, how much clay that is? I haven't even drilled down. Let me see here. Let's see. Okay, of course my drill about had it, but you know what I mean? It's not terrible, but you saw how it flattened out, and that's what it does with time. It just compacts too much. Now I want to show you the same little situation, but I'm gonna get some of that dirt, my fertilized dirt from the ag barn. So we got this versus this ag dirt. Here it goes. See it just sink down in there? I'm not even pushing really. Can you see that though? Once it's got some water to it, man, this stuff is really good stuff. My roots can crawl through it, no problem. When I do get weeds or something growing in it, I grab them and they come out so easy, guys. I mean, I just, if the weeds are in that clay soil, it's an act of God sometimes to get them out, and you don't get the roots. Everything comes up with this stuff. It's awesome. So, something to consider if you can't afford going and buying those $10 or $12 bags of fertilizer and up. You know, sometimes this stuff works really well. I'm really tickled to have it, and just a suggestion, might give it a shot. Anyway, that's what's going on with me in the secret garden right now, and I wanted to show you guys, give you a little lesson on how I am getting my soil to improve the cheap way. So y'all come back and see me, and we'll see you next round. Maybe next time when I show you the secret garden, I'll have some stuff planted. Have a good one.